Yeah, it's super cool. One thing that stinks is we're both so busy we don't get to see each other succeed in person a lot, but it's always cool to get a call and say, "Hey, Drew's going to the finals," or "Drew's doing this, Drew's doing that," and then I'm sure he feels the same way about me. But it's been a cool summer. I'm glad that we're both succeeding and get to show our talents off at a higher level.
Yeah, going off of what he said, it's kind of weird. We don't live in the same house anymore, so it's kind of like we see each other once a week talking about, what Tyler may have accomplished last week or something like that, and we almost kind of a joke to both of us, like, hey, that was cool. Yeah, we get to see each other. So it's just been, like he said, really awesome to get to see each other and be with each other, watching each other do our things when we can.
I know you play basketball at Southmore too, but what's that time schedule like for you to where you're able to do the volleyball and then obviously able to kind of succeed at this level that you have?
Yeah, I mean, my coaches with both volleyball and basketball are unbelievable about helping me be flexible with because the seasons do overlap and there are times that I have to make sacrifices, and I know those coaches really have to make sacrifices. So I'd say the biggest thing for me is just making sure I'm present where my feet are, because there are times where I'll be playing a basketball game Friday night and I'll have an 8 a.m. match with volleyball the next Saturday. So I'd say just being present where my feet are and giving it my all wherever I am.
I would take it volleyball was kind of an easy decision for you considering what Dad did, and that probably is where your love came from. But I'm sure maybe there's another thing. Just is that kind of where the volleyball passion came from?
Yeah, for sure it is. I mean, I've loved volleyball since I was little, and I always kind of had the dream to take that and play in college if I was given the opportunity. But I will say basketball, that's going to be super hard for me to give up. I love playing basketball. I love South Warren. I love our program. So I'm really going to enjoy this last year of that.
This has been a really fun thing for me this summer because, my two passions in my life are I'm an outdoorsman myself. I grew up over on Nolan Lake. We had a house lakefront, and I grew up fishing my whole life, and it was a real passion for me. And then obviously volleyball is a passion as well. And so, it's unique to see my two sons kind of grab one of each of those passions. Tyler, not such a volleyball guy, never was. He sat in the lounge and watched TV while our games were, when he was growing up. But he's always been so passionate about the outdoors, hunting and fishing, and to see him succeed in that passion that I have, and then to see Drew succeed. Drew was the volleyball kid from the time he could crawl up in the couch beside me, and so it's just been really special for me to see each of my boys follow one of those passions and have success doing something that they really, really love to do.
Since you said something, I'm gonna go ahead and ask this. What is it about the Hudson family, not just immediate family? You had one niece that's a fourth region player of the year. You got another niece that's Miss Kentucky.
Yeah.
There's something going on with this.
Yeah, I was talking to my mom last week, and she said my grandkids are having a pretty good summer. And it's true. They live. My brother Todd and his family live a couple blocks away from us, and all those kids grew up together. Mallory, that's Miss Kentucky, is roughly Tyler's age, and then McLean is a high schooler now, the same, a couple years younger than Drew, and it's just been amazing. They're all four took a different path, and they all four have been succeeding at such a high level in what they're doing. It's just, I think one of the great messages in it is for all parents is just let them follow what their passion is. Don't try to pigeonhole them into any one thing, because the four of them are all doing something vastly different. And Mallory was also always so talented, with theater and all those kinds of things. And so it's been a lot of fun to support them all and watch them all be passionate about something, and then for their successes to all come together at a similar time has been a lot of fun for our family.
Tyler, what's it like, as he said, your passion outdoors, fishing, all that stuff, and then to be able to use that passion the way you have with fishing? I know it's a sport that just recently been at high school level, certainly now at the collegiate level. What's it like to be able to have that passion now and be able to do it competitively like this?
Well, it's pretty cool. I always have liked fishing in any sense, whatever we're fishing for, but I kind of started taking up this tournament bass fishing early in high school, and I love everything about it. It combines competitiveness with the bass fishing thing, and it's been cool. I'm excited to go to this national tournament. I think it's going to help us really get our program out there and put us on the map a little bit. We're not funded by the university since we're a club sport, so I think it's really helped us look for sponsorship opportunities too, and really open some doors for us. And we're definitely still looking for more of those. It's a pretty expensive sport, but I think it's really opened some doors for us to be able to go to this national tournament, and it'll help us be successful farther down the road too.
It's a really cool accomplishment for them. Again, being obviously we're a varsity sport, they're a club sport, and funding is tough for them, and like you said, it's an expensive sport, and and it's much more developed at some other universities, and to see him jump in there with some of those guys from the WKU Bass Fishing Club, and this accomplishment, it was remarkable. There was 150 boats in this qualifying tournament, and I said, how do you qualify for the national championships? And he said, we have to be top 10%, which puts them in the top 15 boats. And that's a pretty big leap. And so watching them at the weigh-in the last day and seeing them do that and finish 12th, I think, in that qualifier, the first team to ever represent Western Kentucky University at the Collegiate National Championships it was really unthinkable. It was really something that seemed like a real leap. And so it's pretty cool to see them get to do that and represent the school.
Yeah, I remember standing there, and you can see the people in line waiting to weigh in their fish, and we were sitting in, I think, 8th at one point. We knew we'd fall down, but 8th and then 10th, and then we're sitting in 12th, and we're sitting there looking at the tanks, and there's only 2 other people standing there, and we're like, well, if you do the math, we've done it here. So that was a pretty cool thing to realize and get to share that with my partner.
How long have you been a part of this club?
Since my freshman year, and this will be my 4th year, so I'm going in my senior season.
Kind of got in this thing on the ground, or from the ground, or that started this, or was it already kind of started and you gravitated towards it, found out about it when you got here?
It's been around for, I don't want to put a number on it, I think 8 to 10 years or so. It was pretty established when I got here, but I knew from when I learned there was a team, that is absolutely something I wanted to be a part of. So,
what makes a good competitive fisherman?
Patience and decision making. I think decision making, you can take a very average fisherman, and if he makes the right decisions all day in terms of stopping on this spot or spending a certain amount of time at each place, I think that's everything.
And being willing to put in the time. If you knew the amount of time that these fellas put in preparing, it's not something you just show up and hope they're biting. You know what I mean? Like, they spend a ton of time on the water, and they're very, very dedicated to their craft, what they do, which is something as a coach that I can appreciate, right? Is the amount of dedication that they have to what they do. And like I said, hopefully it's something that springboards that program forward, and people notice a little bit in the community. I know there's a lot of businesses and stuff that are connected to the outdoors and all that, and this is a phenomenal time to get some recognition, to get attached to them and allow them to continue to grow that club and be yet another reason why people are proud of Western Kentucky.
A lot of times when it comes to having a parent who's well accomplished, I guess, especially in that place, you could feel like the stress or the weight of the world on your shoulders. Has there ever been a moment for you all that you felt like you've had a weight of the world on your shoulders because your dad is a Travis?
Take it.
Go ahead.
I'd say, obviously, especially me in the volleyball community, Travis Hudson's a name that is very commonly known, and people realize and understand my attachment to him. But I wouldn't call it pressure or anything like that. I feel like it's always been to me just like a responsibility, just as anybody would want to make their family name proud. I'd say it's just a responsibility for me to put myself out there and treat people the right way and play the right way to represent the Hudson name positively.
And I learned very quickly that after games we talk about volleyball when he's ready to talk about it, not when I'm ready to talk about it. So I learned that lesson very early on, and both these boys are that way. And it, you know what? It's a phenomenal lesson for any parent out there is because what I've found is he always gets there. Win, lose, or draw, he always gets to the point where he wants to talk to Dad about it a little bit. But it's just very important to give him the space to process and, get everything, in his mind right before he is ready to talk with me. We made that mistake a couple of times early on.
We figured it out.
But we learned quick, don't we?
We did.
Well, I guess to further that though, for you, Drew, what's it like to have someone that you can, when you want to, you can finally talk to about volleyball that's been able to do what he's doing?
Yeah, I mean, it's something that's super special, and I'm super blessed to have, not many kids. I mean, a lot of kids talk to their mom and dad about the game, and they don't even really know what even happened. They just know they won or lost. I mean, so it's super cool, and it's helped me mature a lot in the game, just understanding it at a deeper level, and even to help me improve myself, stuff that I don't realize that I'm doing during the game, whether it's a certain skill, body language, anything like that he can help me understand to better myself.
Tyler, when you're kind of prepping for a fishing competition, what do you do? How often are you on the water? Is it every single day? Kind of walk us through what your training is.
Time on the, I try to never pass up opportunity on the water, as crappy as the weather might be or something like that, because that's really, you can only learn so much reading and looking. You got to get out there and do it yourself to figure it out a lot of times. But a lot of it is just rig and tackle. Typically I've got about 15 rods of my own that need to be ready to go. Don't be wasting time messing with them when you get there. Looking at a lot of doing map studies before the lakes and stuff. A lot of times, especially at the collegiate level, we're being sent to lakes that we're not super familiar with. And so going through your maps and looking at Google Earth and stuff and trying to get the layout before you get there so that you can use your 2 to 3 days that they give you to practice before the tournament efficiently, and you're not just kind of spinning around. But even for this national tournament, they have a cutoff date where you can't go to the lake for a certain amount of time before the tournament to kind of level the playing field for the local kids, and that was cut off Monday for our tournament in August. So we even went down this past weekend for 3 days and practiced before a month ahead before the tournament. So
one of the things that I think is unique about what he has to do is, volleyball, if you're practicing, we can go out here and practice. We can go to South Warren High School and practice. You find a gym and a net and you can practice such your craft. The national championships is at Pickwick Lake in Tennessee.
yeah.
And at Pickwick Lake in Tennessee. And so, going to Barren River Lake doesn't necessarily prepare you to fish Pickwick Lake because they're all so unique and different. And so they've had to make trips down to Pickwick Lake just to get comfortable with that particular lake. And that's a pretty heavy dedication to what they do. If every time we had to practice volleyball, if we had to make a 4-hour drive, I don't know that Drew and I'd be in the gym as much as we are. So it's a little unique, a little different, but says a lot about their dedication to what they do.
Every sport has its controversy, but bass fishing is kind of different when it comes to that. There's moments where you're not having fish biting, things like that. What kind of plays into that situation when you're not having some bite?
Yeah, that's one thing that I don't like about fishing. If I had to pick one thing, you can't just always grit your way through it and make them bite. At the end of the day, they got to decide they want to participate too. But I think it's just keeping your head down and just always believing that it could still happen. I can't tell you how many times I fished a tournament 2 weeks ago, and it was a 3-fish tournament, and we had 2 fish 15 minutes before weigh-in. Stopped on one spot. We got 4 casts before we got to go and caught our 3rd fish and did pretty well. So it's just you got to stay level-headed and try to fish all the way up to when you got to be in.
You get any pointers from him on how to fish? Or do you give him the pointers?
I'll take that one. In the beginning, you know, I mean, look, I grew up on a lake. I've fished all my life. I was never a tournament fisherman. And so, you know, in the beginning, when he was learning, when he was developing his passion for it, I had a lot to offer him. At this point, it would 100% be the other way around. So we're at the stage now where I keep having to buy graphs and all these different things, you know, all this stuff that I never used that he's trying to convince me. It's a pretty expensive sport. Let's hard on a volleyball coach's salary. We'll say that.
What's kind of the goals for you and your team next month?
Man, to make the day 3 cut, I think is my biggest goal. We start with 130 teams. They've all qualified through qualifying tournaments like we had to. So you're getting the best of the best, in my opinion, in the collegiate game. You go full field the first 2 days, and then they cut the field down to 12 teams. And I think making the 3rd day would be a good goal for us. So.
And for you, you're going forward, what's kind of the goal with you and volleyball going forward?
I would say just, you know, take it as far as I can. I mean, how to say it? I mean, just get as good as I can. I guess I can't think of a better way to say that. But just see how far I can let the game take me, you know, see how much I can accomplish with it, and yeah.
I know there's some colleges that do, you know, men's volleyball. Are you looking into those at all?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I committed last December to play at Ohio State, so I'll be going there for college the next 4 years. I'm super excited about that.
So Drew, obviously before you do head on to the next level, you do have mid-July, a little bit more time before school starts and all that kind of stuff. Where's your next steps in order to prepare to take that next level and obviously move away from home and be able to play volleyball in the college level?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot going on right now. Summer's kind of when I get my break from school and all that, so I have a lot more time on my hands. So a lot of coming in here with Dad's team, with him, training as much as I can. I mean, the national tournaments and all that with my club team. So I have all that going on. And then I would say just over the next year before I have to go to school, just continuing to do all the things that I've been doing, you know. I'm not looking forward to moving away from home any more than a normal kid would, I would say. But, you know, just being open-minded to everything and just enjoying everything as it comes.
I mean, you're still young, but have you ever thought about the possibility of wanting to coach somewhere?
I've definitely thought about it. Like you said, I'm still so young. I don't even know what I'm having for dinner tonight. Like, that's way too, that's too far in advance for me. I mean, I think that's certainly a possibility, but nothing that I can put my finger on quite yet.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. He truly has had a passion for the sport. And has been around it his whole life, but that means he's seen the really highs and he's seen the really lows of what this job, you know, has to offer. And so I think he has a passionate enough love for this game that's something he could do, but he's also really, really bright like his mama. And, you know, you know, who knows, honestly, it's like what we've done up to now. I mean, it's just sit back and, you know, do things a certain way and allow kind of God to point you in the direction that you're supposed to be in. I feel certain that's going to happen for him.
Drew, obviously with you committing kind of so early on, I guess you sort of could say, what does it just show for you? I mean, playing men's volleyball is not as easy to get into as women's volleyball. So just talk about that.
Yeah, like you said, the opportunities are certainly limited, and especially with what I wanted in college. Like, I was not coming in before I even started the recruiting process. I had said all along, like, if I don't find a school that's the right fit, then I would be content to, you know, just move on from the game after high school. But this Ohio State and the opportunity that they've given me in that school is something that I truly have fallen in love with, and I'm so excited to go there and be there for the next 4 years.
He has truly beaten the odds to be playing on the men's side. Obviously, to grow up in an area where there's no high school volleyball on the boys' side. But at every stop, he has beaten the odds. He's, in the women's game, there's 350 some Division I schools. In the men's game, there's 60 some. And so, just the odds of being a Division I player are astronomical on the men's side. And then, for mom and dad, for him to be only 4.5 hours away from home is something that we're really grateful for, because it'll allow me to continue, because the men's season is in the spring and the women's season's in the fall. So in the spring, I'll still be able to stay connected. And but he has certainly beaten the odds to have the opportunity to do it at the level he's done it, without having an ability to play it through high school and develop in a normal fashion. He has developed in Diddle Arena, and being around it with us and in our gym, and doing all those things. And then every step of the way, as you know, part of this is he was named an All-American last week, which was just an incredible honor and unthinkable. At the AAU National Championships, there at the 17-year-old age group, there were over 2,500 17-year-old boys down there playing volleyball, and he was named one of the 12 All-Americans that came out of that again. And you're talking about, California clubs and all these places where volleyball has been established for years and years and years, and it's just a remarkable feat. And but it has not come by accident for him. He has been passionate about it from the beginning, and he works very, very hard at it. And so it's, I'm really, really proud of him to continue to do the things that he's done. And, we dreamt about him playing college volleyball and those kinds of things early on, and to see him living it out is a testament to how much time and effort he's put into it.
Yeah, that kid works at it. He, I can't tell you how many times that he works at it. He's over here all the time, standing in their practices, just being able to get reps and stuff, because he doesn't have that many opportunities here to get live reps and things. And the closest thing to preparing him for college is playing against Dad's high-level athletes. So I can't tell you how many times I've had to let the dog out so Drew can go to practice with Dad.
Yeah, you wonder if these boys are super close, and they are super close and they get along, but they didn't grow up doing the same things every day, because he could have cared less about being in the gym, and he'll go fish for fun a little bit every once in a while, but they've both been dedicated to what they do.
Coach, I gotta ask, earlier this week, we got the news of Elizabeth Kavanaugh being the first ever KUAC to conference USA Hall of Fame. What was your reaction when you found out that?
Yeah, that one took me a little bit of time to process, if you will, because it just, she never leaves my heart and my mind, but you start seeing a lot of the video of her playing and a lot of the things, and that certainly has been an emotional time for me. I was fortunate to be able to be the one to call her parents and tell them of the honor, and to just spend some time on the phone talking with them about it, and things like that. It's just wonderful to see. It's wonderful for her family. It's like a breath of air for her family to know that their daughter is still remembered, and remembered in the way that she's remembered. And so just really, really honored for her to be the first WKU athlete to be in the Conference USA Hall of Fame, and and anything that continues her legacy, is something that warms my heart, and I know is very, very meaningful to her family.